Hi, boys and girls. Today we are going to start a new book. It's called The Year at Maple Hill Farm. You just finished reading a book about real life farm animals and learning some details about those animals, and today we're going to continue looking at that. So I want to read our focusing question. This is the question we're going to be working to answer for the next couple of lessons, the next couple of times that we use this book together. How do authors create settings? Now, what is a setting? There's a vocabulary card at the bottom. I see a small house. It says setting. The setting is where and when the story takes place. In our last book, we looked at what is true about real farm animals. And so today we're going to continue that study. What do I notice and wonder about the year at Maple Hill Farm? There are so many details in this book. So as I'm reading, I want you to notice details from the words and details from the illustrations. Also, as I'm reading, maybe a question will come up in your mind. Maybe you'll wonder about something. I don't know. Let's head into the book. The Year at Maple Hill Farm by Alice and Martin Provenson. Take a look at the cover there. I noticed something on that cover. I see the names of the months of the year. I see that they're in order from January through December. I also notice that there's a bunch of different animals on the cover, and they all seem to be doing different things on the farm. The only way to figure out what's going to happen in this book is by hopping in. So let's see. The Year at Maple Hill Farm. Oh, I noticed the names of the months on the cover, but here I see the names of the seasons. Winter, spring, summer, autumn. The Year. This is a book about farm animals and what happens during 1 year on a farm. The year is divided into 12 months. The months are divided into weeks, the weeks into days, the days into minutes. And on a farm, something is happening every minute. Animals don't know there is such a thing as a year, but they do know about seasons. Animals know when the cold will come, and they grow heavy overcoats. They know when it is summer, and they shed them. When it is hot, they look for shade. And in winter, they look for shelter. People have names for what they call the months of the year. We could start with any month as far as the animals are concerned, but it is usual to begin with January. So if you notice, take a look at this book. There are large sentences on the top, and then there are a lot of smaller sentences on the bottom. Those sentences give us details about what is happening in this picture. For our first read aloud, I am just going to read the sentences across the top that tell us the main idea of what is happening on each page. I want you, if you'd like, to pause your video on each page and look at details in the pictures. But on our next reading, I will be reading more details about the months of the year. January is a winter month. The ground is covered with snow. It is a cold, gray time of year, and night falls early. Wow. I notice a lot of snow on the ground, and I notice all the sheep lying down. February follows January. The forest pond is frozen solid, all but a marshy place where the spring water feeds the pond. I notice a lot of birds on this page. I notice some children ice skating. Ooh, I wonder how cold it is there. March is a windy month. It is still cold outside, but you can tell spring is coming. There are signs of spring in the barn. March is windy and rainy, but when the sun does shine, it shines more brightly and the days are longer. There are signs of spring everywhere. I noticed baby animals on this page. April is a spring month. You can tell that spring is here by all the eggs. Eggs in the barn, in the fields, in the trees, under the eaves, everywhere. I wonder why there is a basket of Easter eggs. I wonder what all those different birds mean. There's 5 different kinds of birds on this page. I noticed a lot of birds. May days are warm. The animals are uncomfortable with their heavy coats. They will all be cooler without them. Even the chickens molt. I noticed that these animals all have a heavy coat and then it shows them without a heavy coat. Even that dog. I also noticed the cats are staring at him. It's the first month of summer. The farm pond is overflowing. The pasture is green. All the animals enjoy the new green grass. I notice all sorts of animals on here, even small animals like squirrels, chicks, a lot of hens and horses and cows and geese and cats and goats. In June, there are enough insects to go around. The fields are hopping with insects, grasshoppers and leafhoppers and tree hoppers. There are plenty of flies around in June, dragonflies and mayflies and blue flies and butterflies. In June, there are enough horseflies to go around and around. In summer, the fields are full of flowers. Goats and sheep like flowers. Bees like flowers. Everyone likes flowers. The flowers are buzzing with bees, bumblebees and honeybees and busy bees. Flowers like bees, they need them. In summer, the grass is hopping with fleas. No one likes fleas. They bite. I notice a lot of different insects on this page. July comes after June. It's hard to sleep on a night in July if the moon is full and shining and the summer stars are out. I notice people sitting on their porch enjoying the warm weather. August is the last summer month. The sky is blue, the sun shines. Late summer is a drowsy time of year. The days are hot and lazy. I wonder what that word drowsy means. And sometimes suddenly a fresh wind blows and the summer is over. The days are shorter. September is here. Now the days are cooler and a sense of change is in the air. September is the first month of autumn. I notice a lot of horses here. I notice that the horse is getting horseshoes. This page gives me some details about September. October is a splendid month. The harvest is in. An early frost did away with all the insects. Oof, good. October days are dry and bright. Still the wild birds are restless and begin to flock together. I wonder why the birds are restless, but I notice them all flock together in the tree. November! There is a frost nearly every night now. The air smells of snow and winter. The first thin ice is forming on the farm pond. The north wind blows. The bare branches rattle. The forest is far from quiet in November, before the winter settles in. I notice the bare trees. I notice the animals being loaded onto a truck. December is the first winter month. The ground is often covered with snow. Days are dark and cold, and night falls early. That looks a lot like that first picture. An old barn owl is the only one awake to greet the January of another year. No, here are the deer come silently to the barnyard for a little bit of salt and a little leftover hay. And the quiet fox is making certain the chickens are safe in bed this New Year's Eve. I see the seasons again. I see that same farm in all the seasons. Boys and girls, I headed back over to this response journal because I want to know what you noticed. I noticed a lot of different things in that book, and I want to know what you noticed, whether from the words, the text, or from the illustrations, which are the pictures. What is something you noticed about the year at Maple Hill Farm? You have a sentence frame. It says, I noticed. Maybe it's something about an animal. Maybe it's something that an animal is doing. And then you can draw what you noticed. I love to see your illustrations. I hope they give us some information about the setting, where and when this story is taking